Welcome back to the channel, Verabin here. Today we're going to talk about 7 reasons why I think that Retribution Paladin is the best spec in World of Warcraft. I'm not trolling, this is not a joke. I know you guys might think this is a joke. It's not a joke, I'm 100% serious. I really do believe that Ret is the best spec in World of Warcraft. It is so much fun to play in Battle for Azeroth. Based on what we're seeing in Shadowlands, I think it's going to be an amazing spec to play as well. There's so much variety, there's so many really good reasons why this is such a good spec to play. I know there's a lot of memes out there about it being a wheelchair spec. Those are not untrue, but I think there's a lot of redeeming qualities to Retribution Paladin, and I'm going to convince you in this video. Stick with me to the end. I promise you I will convince you once we get to the end. So stick around. We've got 7 reasons why Retribution Paladin is the absolute best spec in World of Warcraft. And yes, one of those reasons is that it is very flashy, has a lot of really cool stuff going on, a lot of fireworks and such. So stick around, we will take a look. Alright, so if you're new to the channel, please be sure to hodge that like button, subscribe, and comments for more Ret Paladin content. So the first reason why Ret is the best spec in World of Warcraft is that Ret is a medium range DPS. And what I mean by that is that so many of Ret's abilities are longer range than just melee. And this is even going to be improved going into Shadowlands, as we have Hammer of Wrath baseline, which has a 30-yard range, Judgment has a 30-yard range, Execution Sentence has a 30-yard range, Final Reckoning has a 30-yard range, and we have the opportunity to get a legendary in Final Verdict that has a 10-yard range. It might not seem very far, but that is a huge deal for us. We have Blade of Justice / Blade of Wrath, a 12-yard range. So all these abilities add to this feeling like Retribution is not just another melee DPS. So where we may lack mobility, we have this medium range DPS where we can continue to add pressure in PvP situations, and in PvE, if we have to move away from the boss or do a mechanic or something like that, we can continue to add a little bit more damage. Alright, so the second reason why Ret is the best spec in World of Warcraft is that Ret has amazing off heals, and this is only getting underlined going into Shadowlands as we get improved talents in Healing Hands, which increases our Word of Glory healing. Instead of actually having a talent into Word of Glory, we have that baseline, guys. So what that means is that when we are able to make a decision here, and this is going to play into one of our upcoming ones as well, where we look at another reason why Ret is the best spec in World of Warcraft. But for now, off healing is really strong, and this is something that people like Shadow Priest have and Enhancement Shaman have as well. This is a hybrid thing. It really feels like Ret is becoming this hybrid class once again, which it wasn't for a long time. And this ability to make a decision between doing damage through Final Verdict / Templar's Verdict or healing is really important. And when you have Healing Hands, your Word of Glory's chunk. They heal so much damage, you guys. It's insane. We're so hard to kill. Now, granted, in PvP, is that going to get dampened? Absolutely. But I don't think Ret is going to be a dampening class for that very reason. I think we're going to have big bursts. We're going to have to win matches very quickly in arena. So in PvP, it's going to be really helpful. In PvE, that Healing Hands is going to be amazing as well, because it's going to reduce the cooldown of your Lay on Hands by quite a bit. So when you combine that with Unbreakable Spirit, which already reduces the cooldown of our defensives, this is going to be a really strong off healing, and you're going to be able to throw Lay on Hands every couple minutes. You're going to have this huge heal, and it's going to be really valuable. Some people are even saying that Retribution Paladin is going to be able to be kind of like a pseudo healer in PvP, where you might be able to use 3 hybrids like a Shadow Priest and a Ret Paladin and maybe a Feral Druid or something like that, and that might be good enough to even be not have to have a healer in 3v3. So you're going to have crazy amount of damage, and that's going to allow us to have some really interesting arena comps. So I'm really excited about that. Off healing is really strong, and it's getting even better going into Shadowlands. So I think that's another great reason. Alright, so reason number 3 is that Retribution Paladins have a really high skill cap, especially in PvP. We're going to talk about PvP a little bit here, but it's true maybe to a lesser extent in PvE, but I'll tell you why. So in PvP, Ret has so many tools, and our toolkit's just getting bigger in Shadowlands. So we're getting things like Turn Evil, where you can fear a Warlock's pet or fear a Death Knight's pet. We're getting Blessing of Sacrifice again, where you can reduce incoming damage on a healer or your arena partner. And even further than that, you can use it to avoid CC. If you see a mage, you know a mage is about to CC you, pop Sacrifice on your partner, and then you can avoid the CC. So things like that are going to allow a really high skill cap for Ret Paladins, especially in arena. PvP. And the other thing is, as we mentioned in the last one, because we have these off heals, you're going to have to recognize where you need to stop and just chunk heals. There's going to be times you're going to stop and just spam Flash of Light and keep someone alive, and then let your damage cooldowns come back up and go back in there. So there's going to be this kind of back and forth of damage healing, and that's going to add a really high skill cap in PvP. Alright, so reason number 4 is that Ret Paladin is really flashy. And what I mean is that sometimes when you're casting a heal or doing a spell, you're going to pull out this book and you're going to start reading the book. You're going to be a librarian on these guys. And sometimes you're going to throw up big wings and you're going to be an archangel and you're going to be bringing down justice. Other times, you're going to be throwing down consecrations on the ground and making everything look yellow. And then other times, you're going to be doing this big hammer that is Final Verdict in Shadowlands. So it's going to be really, really cool. If you spec into Seraphim, you're going to get this awesome hat and this big old hammer. It's just a lot of really, really cool animations, and it really lets you get into this feeling like you are this holy crusader and that you are bringing down justice on the homies. And it's just a lot of fun, guys. It's hard to explain. You have to be in there, but it really makes you really feel like you are a paladin and you are doing some work, and you're going to throw out heals to people. You're going to open your book. You're going to dispense some justice, and it's just a lot of fun. You kind of have to see it to believe it. Alright, so reason number 5 that Ret Paladin is the best spec in World of Warcraft is that it is amazing at solo content. And this might not seem like a big deal right now in BFA because the solo content is so easy that it just doesn't matter. It's just kind of overkill. But come Shadowlands, there's going to be a lot of world quests. There's going to be all sorts of things you have to do. You're going to have to do Torghast. Think about Torghast, you guys. And every spec is going to end up being really overpowered later on in Torghast. But right now, at the beginning of it, to get through those first few levels, you're going to have to be really, really strong at solo content if you want to do it efficiently. And Ret Paladin is amazing at solo content. And despite the fact that we don't have a whole lot of defensive cooldowns and things like that, we've got the off healing, we've got the ability to do burst damage and get packs down really quickly and things like that. So that's going to be really, really important to solo content. So when you're out there in the world, even if you're doing world PvP or anything like that, Paladin's just got this really, really strong toolkit for being able to solo. And that's really, really important. Obviously, doing old world quests and old raids and things like that, it's going to help you there. But really, there's this really cool new thing in Shadowlands that is Torghast and also the Maw. And these kind of difficult solo kind of contents, Ret Paladin is really going to excel. Alright, so reason number 6 that Ret Paladin is the best spec in World of Warcraft is that it has really, really great burst damage. And this is going to be especially important in PvP. And if you've played Rated Arena at any sort of level of difficulty, you know that sustained damage doesn't really do much in PvP, especially towards the middle or the end of the expansion. You really need to be able to burst someone down really, really quickly. And this is where the strength of the Ret Paladins really come through, because our burst is extremely strong right now. We're not on the same level as rogues, but we can definitely burst really, really hard. And you can see in some of the clips here, the damage just comes out and just chunks through and can get through people really, really quickly. It's going to be really, really important. And this is actually really good in PvE as well, especially Mythic Plus, where you have these packs every 30 to 60 seconds. You're going to have this big pack to get down really, really quickly, and that's going to be really helpful there as well. So the burst damage is really, really strong. I think they've done a great job with the talents and allowing this to be a really big strength for Ret Paladins. Reason number 7, the last reason why Ret Paladin is the best spec in World of Warcraft, is that we have such an amazing list of PvP talents. So our talent list in general, I think, is really, really strong, but PvP specifically, we have so many good talents that it's hard to even pick them when you go into a battleground, or a battleground or an arena. You're like, wow, which one of these amazing talents should I pick? So we're going to go through a few of them and just talk a little bit through them really quickly. So Unbound Freedom allows us to have an undispellable Blessing of Freedom. This one is almost mandatory. You almost can't give this one up. It's going to increase your speed by 30%. And it's going to, when you cast it on a friendly target, you're going to get Blessing of Freedom. So it's a double freedom. It's amazing. So the next one is Blessing of Sanctuary. Blessing of Sanctuary removes stuns, silences, fears, and horrors from a friendly target and reduces the duration of future by 60% for 5 seconds. This is an amazing talent against a lot of different classes. People like Shadow Priests who do stuns and silences and fears. People like Rogues who do stuns constantly. Warlocks who do fears constantly. Think about having Blessing of Sanctuary plus the improved Blessing of Concentration. It's going to give you such good ability to get away with fears and things like that. So there's a couple other ones we want to talk about. So Lawbringer is another one that's really, really strong, especially combined with the Kyrian Covenant. This is going to be so strong. We have such a long list of
PvP talents, it's hard to even pick 3, and I really like that. I like that all of them seem overpowered. There's like 10 of these talents that seem really, really strong. So those are 3 that are really, really strong, but in general, I think there's more of them out there.
Alright, so to recap, here are the 7 reasons why Ret Paladin is the best spec in World of Warcraft. And I hope that I've convinced you in this video. If I didn't, let me know in the comments and let me know what spec do you think is the best one in the game and why is it Ret Paladin. So, if you like this kind of content, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. Be sure to hodge that like button, and I will see you in the next one.